Hello everybody and welcome to another utility belt video. I have got something very cool to show you today. This item is incredible. I've abused the hell out of it. I want to share it with everyone. It will probably get, well, I don't know, it might get nerfed just because of how overpowered this is, and I really want to let you guys know it's bloody amazing. Even better, I would say, than the frost gun, which we saw last week, which was a pretty cool item, obviously. I kind of described this as being an extra weapon for anyone's profession, which can add some utility you might not otherwise have. This week, though, I want to show you the depleted power crystal. This thing is awesome. It's so cool. So you double click it, double click to gain a depleted power crystal. It will swap out your weapon and give us just one skill on the left hand side of our skill bar. When we use this one skill, it will disappear. We'll throw the crystal away, as I can demonstrate there, and we'll have our regular skills. So the one drawback of this is if you want to abuse it, like I have been abusing it, you're going to get through quite a lot of them. Fortunately, they're kind of cheap, but you will want to save up on a few stacks, I suppose, if you really want to use these to their full extent. But they're pretty cool. So what exactly do they do? We gain the ability Throw Crystal Shard. It's not that complicated, really. It's just simply throw a crystal shard and bleed a foe. 212 damage, not very high damage at all, but 6 stacks of bleeding for 14 seconds and 5 stacks of vulnerability for 21 seconds. Of course, we know what bleeding and vulnerability do, I'd hope, at this point. And right now I'm actually on a conditioned spec elementalist. Which is not a normal thing. Like, elementalists don't really do conditions. They don't do them very well at all. And here I've tried to develop some kind of a condition elementalist just so that I can use it as well as demonstrate the full power of these crystals in the video. So I have got here, not exotic stuff by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got pretty good condition gear with nice runes on them and condition jewelry as well to give me 1,690 condition damage at the moment. That's in addition to some consumables that I popped. But with that, I can kind of demonstrate how powerful this is for, you know, necromancers or any other people that have decided to spec themselves for conditions. It's very powerful without this as well, don't get me wrong. I just kind of wanted to demonstrate this. So here you can see we get 6 stacks of bleeding from throwing 1 crystal at someone. So how about we throw, I don't know, this hasn't got a cooldown, how about we just throw 3 crystals on this plague bearer, shall we? So here we go. We're going to go into fire attunement. We're going to throw 1 crystal, 2 crystal, 3 crystal, and watch him melt. That's 24 stacks of bleeding on him, 20 stacks of vulnerability and poison. He just transferred the conditions to me. Oh my god, I can't believe he's just done that. He's going to kill me. I'm down. No, that's destroyed my amazing demonstration of how good this could have been. Hold on, I need to cut it. I can't believe he just did that. That's so rare. That very rarely will ever happen. Oh my god, I can't believe he just did that. Oh, but you see the damage, right? Okay, let's do that again. I can't believe that just happened. Right, we'll get vengeance on this guy. Oh my god. Okay, so this guy will also transfer conditions. That's never happened to me before. That's unbelievable. Okay, so 1 crystal, 2 crystal, 3 crystal. I'm running the fuck away from him. Let's throw a 4th one on there as well. Why not? But you can see how quickly they melt. Ah, he's done it again. He's done me again. But okay, so I'm dead. You can see the damage. So he's transferring all of that onto me. I've actually filmed this video a couple of times already, and that's not happened to me once. Let me raise up. I'll do it on a Drake as well. But you can see how strong these things are. Not many enemies transfer conditions like this. I would now suggest you maybe be wary of those guys. But in just in 4 of these crystals, 5 if you want, but it's a bit of overkill because they'll be on 24 stacks, and if you use the 5th, then you're throwing an entire crystal just for 1 stack of bleed. But you can see their power here. In just a couple of consumables, we've gained enough damage to totally melt an enemy down. And now we can just fight them like normal as well. I'm just standing around here, but you can then go off and use your regular skills. You can see there just the insane damage we do. Just to demonstrate even further to you guys how strong this really can be. I'm still kind of getting over the fact they're killing me with my own trick here. I'll find one of the big veteran giants. They're usually around here, and I'll show you how strong it can be against a more long-term enemy as well, like how quickly we can kill, something like that. I mean, I think we all kind of have a bearing for how strong those big giants are, and I guess this will demonstrate quite nicely how much damage it can do over time too. Here we go. And this works in group scenarios too, because of course it's putting vulnerability, so you're basically ensuring that your entire team is doing tons of damage to enemies you fight, like in fractals and stuff, which of course is a very, very effective way of fighting. So even though this is quite a selfish thing, we're just putting 25 stacks ourselves, we're also meaning they take 25% more damage basically from all of my other teammates on my side, which is very, very strong. So you can see I can just throw a couple of crystals on him and then go off and do my own thing, and he's dying so incredibly quickly that, you know, I barely have a time to use all my regular stuff. And any class in the game can do this. So if you don't think this is strong, then I'd like to see what you can do that's stronger, especially considering anyone can do this. You know, a level 1 friggin' warrior that also don't typically have much in the way of conditions can do this. It's very, very cool, the item. But as I say, you run out of them quite quickly. When you do run out of them, you're going to want to buy more. Well, where do we get to buy them, you might be wondering? Well, that's what the second bit of this video is going to be. So I'm actually going to cut now to another bit of the video where I show you where we get these things from. And we actually get them from the Caledon Forest. So I'll see you guys after the jump. Also, you'll kind of have to excuse my voice a little bit. I noticed there you can hear me sniffling. I've got a bit of a cold. I'm trying to just power through it. But yeah, if you can hear that, I'm sorry. But yeah, so here we are in Caledon Forest. I did open this up to all of you guys, the community, which was pretty cool. I tweeted about an hour in advance, to be honest, that I was doing this. And we ended up with quite a nice turnout. Like, I don't think I've seen many big zergs in Caledon Forest. So it was quite fun to do this. And you'll still have the opportunity as well, if you're watching this, if you do follow me on Twitter, then I'll be doing these quite regularly as we go forward, because a lot of the utility belt items do come from the end of long event chains. So this one in particular, as I say, is in Caledon Forest. I started just to the exit of the Grove. This is kind of unnecessary if you've already explored the world, obviously, but I thought I'd do it from there anyway. Basically, we're just walking up to a large area to the north called Maybon Market. There's some pretty cool stuff going on there, but generally this is an event chain that covers two main areas. Three main areas really. A big area full of script, the marketplace to the north, and then further north from that too, a place called the Hanto Trading Post, which is like this Tengu settlement where the Asura are also there trying to experiment on the script. And it's basically, from what I can gather, this group of Asura in the general area doing all these things to do with the script. And the events are in an event chain, but how the characters and the event chains kind of tied together is a bit difficult to see. But in any case, we're going to come here to the Ruins of the Unseen. Pretty cool place. And the first event is something you've probably recognised from before, where we have to collect these data cores. This chain's quite nice because it's got a bit of every type of event, really, I feel like. So first you want to come here, central Caledon Forest, and just go around and pick up as many data cores as you can. If you're on your own, this is incredibly easy, because pretty much every single script in the area drops a data core, as well as you've got all these things you can interact with around the sides that also give you data cores too, which is nice. But of course, because we had a big group of people, it took a little bit longer. All of these took longer. It is weird to see what ArenaNet have counted for in terms of scaling, like how many players you can add and how far a lot of the events will scale up to accommodate for that. Like, this got to the point where players were being culled, but all the events remained very easy. It's just some of them took a little bit longer. So I do a little bit of a cut there so that we can move forward to just as the event ends, and the Asura are all very happy that we've got these data cores. When this event chain ends, actually the Asura are going to ask for more data, like another data set, and then this event here begins again, so it just keeps cycling around. Basically, the Asura keep getting more data cores and then botching the experiments, and it just keeps going on and on. I think it's quite nice the way this event chain works like that. Like, the story is quite cyclical, as well as the way the events themselves work. But anyway, once you've done that, you're going to go to Maybon Market, which is nearby. There's no NPC you can follow or anything that will tell you to come here, and there's a bit of a time delay too on when the next event starts. It takes quite a long time before this one will trigger, but if you do wait around at Maybon Market, eventually you'll hear the Asura in this area talking about their different experiments, and finally one of them will go wrong, as the Golem predicts. He's like, oh, there's a 9% chance this is going to work, and indeed it does fail, and you've got to catch all these little enemies that are running around all over the place. You kill them, or rather you damage them, and then they turn into this slime, and you pick up the slime and take it back over to the guy. You can choose to eat the slime too, but it does nothing for the event, and I think it just poisons you and gives you random negative effects, so you probably don't want to do that. Again, if you can look up in the top right there, I've just cut it, but like, each individual one took so long. Like, this event took a very long time to complete. But anyway, once you've done that one too, again, you're going to have another bit of a weird situation where you just stood about waiting. There's those giant ooze there as well for some reason. You're going to just stand about waiting for the next event to pop, but it pops in the same place, so don't go too far away. Eventually, you're going to find out that this Asura, whatever they've been doing with these experiments, they have had some success, I suppose, and they're taking their results to the Hanto Trading Post to the north. So you follow this little Asura here that leaves, and he's going to take you to this big moss heart that's been standing around, and you're going to go into an escort event where you take this moss heart and all of the Asura stuff up to the north. This is a really cool escort event though. It's not like normal escort events. This one not only do you have like random groups of enemies charging at the thing you're trying to escort, but also you get specific script that are marked on your map that are basically like suicide bombers, as best I can tell, and they're going to charge the Moss Heart. I've never actually seen what happens when they get to him, but I assume they do really big damage, if not one hit KO the guy, and you've got to kill them in amongst the other mobs too. Like, they take lots of damage and you need to identify them and get to them soon, which I think is really cool, and I think it's a damn shame that ArenaNet coded this kind of an escort event in, but this is the only time I've ever seen it be used. There might be other small examples around the game world, but I'm certainly not familiar with them. It makes it a bit more of an interesting escort event, though. Of course, with this massive mob of people, though, I was hoping there were going to be loads of like suicide bombers and they'd get a bit more health and then they'd all start charging. It would get much harder, but it doesn't seem to scale up at all, really. You get 2 of them and that's about it. So yeah, just make sure you kill the regular things, make sure that the package gets through just fine, and you'll eventually find yourself up at the Hanto trading post just here. And the Asura that are working here, as I say, with the Tengu, still trying to figure out what's going on with the script. They'll take this stuff, and you'll get the final event. By the way, Moss Hearts, I think, would just be so good in World vs. World. Do you know how we only get Dolyaks? I think if they allowed us to upgrade the Dolyaks into Moss Hearts and stuff, that'd be so awesome. But in any case, yeah, he's going to stop. We're going to speed it up a little bit more. And we're going to do the last event of this chain before you can buy your depleted power crystals, which is a defend event. We all kind of stood on this tent here. One of the script knocked us all off, which I thought was quite funny, and I'd leave it in. But yeah, so you're going to do a defense event here now as well. It's kind of an interesting defense event, and that you're defending this guy, but also he's set up like these golem structures as well, which keep laying down static fields, and the special script that do lots of damage that were in the previous event are also here too. You can see them getting pinged on the map. When you've got a large group of people, obviously it's quite easy to just go off and eliminate them. You know, you could just have 1 or 2 people doing that, and then you're just going to have hordes of script also running at you towards the middle, and you just got to stand around and successfully defend here. It's not too difficult. None of them are. Obviously, it's an early game area. They don't scale too high, as you can see here. You do lots of damage if you're a high level character, and there you go. That's basically the event chain. The merchant itself will be one of the golems that's just stood here. He becomes a buy merchant, and he doesn't survive as a merchant for very long. So if you want to buy this stuff, buy it and keep your trade window open, because if you want to buy multiple stacks, it's probably going to take you a while, because ArenaNet still haven't added like a bulk buyer option. So make sure that you leave that window open, because even when the golem ceases to become a merchant again, which won't take long to happen, you can still buy at that point as long as you leave the window there. So at one point I bought like 4 or 5 stacks of these things, and I was able to do so even though the golem wasn't selling them anymore. And obviously it's quite a long event chain. I've cut out those big gaps in the middle, but there are some lengthy periods of time between some of those events, so make sure you take your time. But yeah, there you go, that's how you get the crystals. Buy them up, I would say. I mean, I don't know whether they will get nerfed, honestly. They might. I think the fact they don't have a cooldown is kind of the big thing with them. And it is only one condition. It's not AoE. I certainly feel like after trying to make a condition elementalist, I think conditions only really shine when they have some kind of AoE capability, which elementalists kind of find quite hard. Like, we get it with bleeds, but nothing else really. A little bit with fire. I don't know. Like I say, I might do a video about condition elementalist coming up in the week. But there you go, guys. That's the utility belt crystals. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks to everybody who came in as well. As I say, you've always got the opportunity. Just follow me on Twitter, and I'll probably say about an hour before I do this kind of stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next time. See you later, everyone. Oh, also, because this took a while, for those of you interested who might have actually been on the run or do want to see a full uncut version of us doing this event chain, I have got a version of that video up that's unlisted. You can find a link to that in the description too. It's about 20 to 30 minutes, so if you want to kill the time, then you can have a look at it there. I wasn't in VoIP or anything, but it might be interesting, especially to those of you who are there, and I'll probably do that in the future too. So anyway, there you go, guys. I'll catch you next time.